Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, I trust you enjoyed my last video on the Commodores and through their song You're Once, Twice, Three Times a Lady, we looked at how we need to always ensure that the significant person in our life is important. Well, we're going to do a little bit of a mini series on some of screen and music legends over the next three videos. And we'll start with a guy who was born in 1889 in South London. Now, when you think about the world of pictures and movies, this guy is right up the top. It does not get any better or significant or more influential than this guy today. In fact, in a little while, you'll see where the Academy Awards gave this guy such a long-standing ovation when he got an honorary award from there. So, comic actor, filmmaker, composer, universal icon, a true movie artist, and truly eternal, if not immortal. He got his start in silent movies, where very much what you did was the most significant and important thing, of course, with the music behind that. But then he did actually get into talking movies a little bit later in his career. Now, when you think about the tramp character with the hat and the cane and the funny walk, you immediately think of Charlie Chaplin. Now, or as his credits used to say, Charles Chaplin, but Charlie Chaplin is where everybody knew him. Between 1914 and 1967, there were 80 movies. Now, he wrote, directed, and was pretty well did everything in a lot of those movies. He just is one of these guys that just had an absolute knack of telling a story. First of all, through his actions, and a little bit later through his talking. And because of that, he was given creative license to actually create and to actually do some pretty amazing movies. And certainly, every studio around that time, around that early 20s, 30s mark, was actually looking for Charlie Chaplin and trying to put him on because he was actually just being really, really successful. And so we all love this character. What attracts us to Charlie Chaplin? First of all, his genius, comedic acting. Secondly, his brilliant writing. His incredible ability to just shake things up and tell a story through any character. It's a character that we resonated with. It's a character that we wanted to almost be like in lots of ways, because in Charlie Chaplin's character there was a bit of innocence, a bit of larrikinism, and also very tender moments, and in other interesting moments where he just really was able to tell a story through this beautiful character that was Charlie Chaplin. Now, Charlie has received some awards. He was in the New Year's Honours List, 1975. Queen Elizabeth II gave him that one. He's a Knight in the Order of the British Empire. That's pretty significant. Doctor of Letters. That's a very significant award. That one. Both the University of Oxford and also Dublin. He's a Legion of Honour in France. It's a very high award, that one. Golden Lion from Venice. The Eurasius Prize in Europe. Now, apparently that is the one of the highest accolades that you can get in Europe, thinking about the whole continent. Of course, he's got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, 1972. He's received 3 Academy Awards, including an honorary award, and we're going to get onto that one in a minute, in 1972. Basically, they said that he was incalculable in his influence and effect on the movie industry. He introduced a lot of techniques. There were certainly lots of stunts in his shows, his ability to tell a story, his ability to use the props to tell the story, his ability just to smile or to have a face on him. he encapsulated everything what it meant to be a human being. I think this is what made Charlie Chaplin so significant. Of course, it was a different time back then, when there was no talking, you had to the story had to be done through your movement. And, I haven't watched some of his stuff recently. It just does not stop. It goes from one funny thing to another, to another, to another. And of course, the great thing about comedy is the setup of it. And he'd put a little bit of a thing in there, and next minute he's capitalising on that down the track. And certainly, there's one movie in particular where there's a bit of a sort of a retreat kind of place, and there's this pool with healing water in the middle of it. Well, anyway, Charlie Chaplin's character brings in a heap of liquor, and anyway, the liquor's actually found. And the comment is, get rid of that, so they throw it out of the window into this healing water, and well, the rest is history. Charlie Chaplin wasn't scared to have a bit of a dig at things either. If he felt a commentary needed to be made on something, he would do that. But he would, and of course, with the way comedy is, you can kind of get away with it in comedy, and people kind of just think, okay, yeah, there's a bit of a thing right there. And so yeah, that's so Charlie Chaplin, absolute legend. In fact, legend doesn't even cut it with this guy today. Well, of course, the best way to experience Charlie Chaplin is to actually watch him in action. But I thought before we'd start, there's a bit of he wrote this song Smile around 1936. And there's a bit of a montage to that song. Nat King Cole is singing the song, so that just adds that whole silky smooth lyrics to this beautiful song. Smile though your heart is breaking. Smile because your world is... Just keep pushing through and keep smiling. This is very much the magic of Charlie Chaplin. Now, of course, he understood what life was, how hard could life would be. So he wouldn't just sort of say, hey, come on, just smile, get over it. No, he'd be with the person and encourage them to look at life a bit differently. So we've got Smile. Now, talking about talking movies, we've also got The Great Dictator. This is the Barber Shop Scene from 1940, and this just shows how beautiful, how incredible Charlie Chaplin was, how he was coordinating his movies with which pretty amazing soundtrack. This particular thing has been done a few times since. I can remember Looney Tunes doing this. They have a bit of a knack of doing this as well. But basically, absolutely legendary scene from Charlie Chaplin from The Great Dictator, the Barber Shop Scene, all the way back in 1940. Now, of course, we then got a clip from the kid where he actually finds a baby. Now, he just walks along and there the baby is. You think, well, what am I going to do now? And you look at all the things he tries to do to get rid of this baby. But also the tenderness that he has towards this baby and everything else. And so this is just a whole sequence of funny events that happen from one thing to another and enable him to kind of endear us to his character. So we've got a clip from the baby, from the kid. Then we're talking about the Oscars. In 1972, he was honoured with an honorary award. Now, just see how long these guys give him a standing ovation for. He was there for quite a long time, and he kind of acknowledged, even though he probably didn't really like the applause that much, he kind of acknowledged that this was a bit of a moment for him. And it was also nice for him to be acknowledged as a significant contribution he has made to the world of cinema and just to art in general, really. And so he says a little bit of stuff, and he's got the cane and the hat there at the end, which is just his trademark to the world. And I thought I'd finish off when we get to his talking part of his career, again, The Great Dictator. Now, there's some incredible similarities here. Let me just say that there was an unlikely resemblance here. And I think Charlie Chaplin used that resemblance to make a few points. Now, The Great Dictator is all about a guy that wasn't going to be anything much. He just goes from one thing to another. And bit by bit, he becomes the leader of the country. Well, he's not the leader, but everyone else thinks he did. So what do you do in this situation? Well, there's quite a famous speech at the end of this movie where this little insipid little character ends up writing some of the best words ever in motion picture history. And and really, this is a call to the world right now, all about why are we into machines, and where's all the connections gone, and we've got more than enough resources to change the world, but we're not doing it. Why is greed such a thing? Why is power such a thing? Why? All of this sort of stuff. Very much a call to the world right now. And you know what, guys? Ukraine is just one part. I know Ukraine's getting a lot of airplay at the moment, but there's so much else going on in the world as well at the moment. So I thought I'd put that one in there as well, because it's a bit of a call to the world, really, about, hey, guys, we need to wake up. And, it's a classic case of the speech just kind of gets a life of its own. I mean, how incredible of Charlie to actually pull this speech off. I don't know whether this is scripted or not. I have a feeling it wasn't. And, at the end, he realises the significant stuff that he said, and he's kind of just can't believe it. And so the call of Charlie Chaplin really to all of us is, smile, though your heart is breaking. Have a bit of tenderness and thoughtfulness for your fellow man. See what positive difference you can make in the world, and try and imagine a world as a better place. Charlie Chaplin certainly did that, and the world well and truly resonated with him. He was respected by his peers, and he changed the world, really, this little guy from South London. So, it doesn't matter how big or powerful we are or whatever. If we just think we're just really, really little and really small, well, you have a small part of the world you can make a change in. So please be encouraged to think, well, hey, I do have something to offer this world, and just see where that goes. Suppose if you feel like there's a bit of a sense of something, take that first step, because that's often the hardest one. So I trust you've enjoyed this little bit of a tribute on Charlie Chaplin today. We're going to continue on with another legend of screen and music, and that's Dean Martin. So that's where we're heading next time. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.